Good evening, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Cutler here. Say, I decided to sit outside tonight to do the read aloud. We don't have the beautiful sunset tonight like we had last night that I thought I was taping, but I wasn't. So we're going to try again. Maybe you can see the horses out there. They're standing out there, but the birds sound really nice, so I thought I would just read. It's not too dark yet, but I also want to turn the camera around and show you something. Remember I talked about something special that's coming in the mail? I want to show you. I made a little sample project of what you're going to be making for your moms for Mother's Day. So I'm going to turn the camera around here for a minute so you can see it. All right, there it is. It's this sweet little bookmark that you're going to be making. You're sewing it onto a paper clip. Let me just show you what that is. It is so adorable. I just made this afternoon, and I think you're going to have a good time making it. I'll do a tutorial video on showing you how to make it. So we'll do that later. Tonight, let me rub back around. We're reading Among the Imposters, and we're on chapter 20. Now remember, last night it was super suspenseful because Luke had just gone out to the woods. He realized that the other boys were having a meeting, and he had just stepped out from behind the tree, so they knew he was there. So here we go. This is chapter 20. Luke felt 12 pairs of eyes on him. Nina's mouth was frozen in a little "oh" of surprise. Jackal Boy's jaw dropped in astonishment. But everybody was more astonished, but nobody was more astonished than Luke. Why did I do that? He wondered. He remembered thinking that most of the boys at Hendrix acted like pawns. I'm a pawn too, remember? Just plain old Luke Garner, who doesn't know anything about anything, who cowers in the attic with his best friend while his best friend dies for the cause. Stepping out from behind that tree was something Jen would have done, not me. But he'd done it. Now what? Luke longed to slide back behind that tree again, given that it wouldn't be much of a hiding place now to turn tail and run. But his legs were trembling so much that he was just standing still, and that was what took all of his strength. Everyone was so quiet that Luke could hear his watch ticking again. All right, he'd gotten himself into this mess by acting like Jen. What would she do next? Talk. Jen could always talk. You destroyed my garden, Luke accused. You'll have to make restitution. Luke could be using big words too, he thought. He saw a glimmer of appreciation in Trey's eyes. Everyone else stared blankly. Would Jen bother explaining, or would she prefer letting them feel dumb? Garden? Jackal Boy asked. What garden? That wasn't what Luke had expected. What garden? He repeated. Well, my garden, over there. He pointed into the dark. Last night, somebody trampled the whole thing, kicked over my beans, broke off my raspberry plants. You're the only ones I see out here in the woods. Luke tried to let his anger carry him through, but all of the faces in front of him looked vacant. Had he made a big mistake? Could they possibly be innocent? He finished weakly. So you owe me. Jackal Boy shook his head. We don't know what you're talking about. He didn't seem to be lying. But how good was Luke at judging liars? I'll show you, Luke said impatiently. He suddenly had the notion that if he saw them looking at the destruction, he'd be able to tell by their expressions whether or not they were guilty. He turned hastily and started walking. He was surprised when he heard footsteps following behind him. They'd actually listened to him? Obeyed him? They made a strange procession through the woods, Luke leading the way and the other boys following with their lantern and the girls with a dim flashlight. Luke made a few missteps, and he even had to backtrack once, but he circled around, hoping none of the others would notice. Finally, they reached Luke's clearing. In the moonlight, it looked desolate, just a stump and some scraggy plants. It didn't even look like it had ever contained a garden. There, Luke said, trying to sound wronged and indignant. His voice came out in a squeak. See those broken off raspberry plants? See the squished beans? But why do I have to show you? You know what you did. No guilt showed on their faces. They still looked puzzled. He's just crazy, Jackal Boy hissed. Wait a minute, Nina said. Did you guys walk back to school this way last night? Trey shrugged. We might have. One of the other boys spoke up. It's not like we can tell any of the trees apart. So maybe you stepped on his garden by mistake, Nina said, and didn't even know it. I certainly wouldn't know what a garden looks like, one of the other girls said. Like this. What were you growing? Nothing, Luke muttered. He was suddenly overcome with shame. He'd felt so brave stepping out from behind that tree, just to make a fool of himself. Looking ahead, he could see how the other boys could have missed noticing his efforts and trampled his garden by mistake. This had been a pathetic excuse for a garden. He'd been pathetic for ever thinking that it was anything, let alone anything worth taking a risk for. He wished he could go back and hide behind that tree forever. Jackal Boy started laughing first. You thought this was a garden? You were sneaking out here to make a garden? He asked. The others began to snicker too. Luke's shame turned into anger. So, he asked, defiant again. So you are a lecker, Jackal Boy said. He was laughing so hard he doubled over in a mirth. A real lecker! You always say that, Luke grumbled. I don't even know what a lecker is. Someone from the country, Trey explained hopefully. Oh, like a bumpkin. That's what it really means. But now the word's just kind of a general insult, like calling somebody a moron or stupid. Luke thought Trey almost sounded apologetic, but that only made things worse. What's wrong with being from the country? Luke asked. If you have to ask, Jackal Boy said, laughing again. He had to sit down on the rotting stump to catch his breath. Luke hoped he got mold smears on his pants. Want to know something even funnier? Jackal Boy said. I'm betting you're really an ex-nay too. So all of those insults, lecker, ex-nay, fonrel, they're all true. I don't even know that I've ever met somebody who's all three before. We'll have to come up with a new word just for you. What'll it be? Luke stared at Jackal Boy and the others laughing behind him. His face burned. How could he have thought, ever, for an instant, that there might be kids that could trust him? Then, that he might belong with them. Leave me alone, he shouted, and he turned and ran. Oh no, poor Luke. I feel so bad for him. He thought he was going to be so brave and courageous like Jen stepping out from that tree, and it sounds like he just found more trouble. So tomorrow we'll read chapter 21. We're on chapter 21 and we'll read that tomorrow. Look forward to your mailboxes. Make sure you look in your mailboxes. I'll be giving instructions on how to do these. They're actually 2 projects when you get it. So there'll be some surprises that we'll talk about. Tomorrow I have office hours, so come and see me for office hours. And then Friday we have our class meeting. And remember, we're going to wear PJs, have blankets, and Legos. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.